So, 4-on-4 flag football in all its glory. Check-in procedure, everyone needs a UNCW ID to play. They need to have it with them. That's not necessarily anything you need to worry about. They'll check in with their supervisor at the front gate when they walk in. But in case you have any friends that want to play, everyone needs their UNCW ID to play. Teams will check in, not at the gazebo, they'll check in at the building when they walk in. And then also our supervisor will be checking for jewelry, and that's also on you all to make sure that you do so as well. All players are not allowed to wear any jewelry, wristbands, rings, necklaces, bracelets, anything like that. Any jewelry has to come off. And that's also put on you all of, when you all are working, make sure that you're not wearing any jewelry as well. Earrings, necklaces, anything like that. So make sure that if we're going to enforce the rule that we're also following it as well. So it's up to you all. Our supervisor does their best to catch it as they're walking in, but sometimes they walk in wearing a sweater that they take off to play, and then that's when we catch it. So if you see it, make sure it gets taken off immediately, and they're not allowed to play until they do so. Scorecards, you will receive a scorecard from our supervisor that looks like this for you to kind of keep track of score as well as in sportsmanlike conducts and whatnot throughout the night. So you'll fill out date, time, field, team name and team color, what they select. So when we do the coin toss, you're going to make note of did they select to receive the ball, or did they elect to defer. The score at each half, so that if we have any issues we can go back and look at scores and hopefully try to figure out what happened. Final score and sportsmanship rating, any unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and then who was working. So in the event we fill this all out, the next day we get in the office and someone's like, hey, the score was put in wrong, we can call, we know who to call to hopefully get that fixed and kind of get some information from you. So make sure that that's all filled out completely before you turn it in to our supervisor at the end of the game. We'll give you a pen, we'll give you the scorecards each night, so it's not anything you have to worry about bringing with you that evening. Teams can provide their own ball. We do have some balls that they can check out from the building, but they provide their own ball for the game, as well as all flag belts. So we will check out flag belts when they come in to the facility. You generally in the middle of the fields, so make sure if you see anyone walking out with it that they don't, and then their jerseys as well, they will get from the building with numbers. If they're, sometimes fraternities will show up with their own jerseys. They're welcome to play with those if our supervisors approve them, but they will get, if they don't have them, which most teams don't, they will receive them from us. So there's 4 players for men's and women's and co-rec. They must have 3 to start the game. So with that being said, with co-rec, it's played 2 and 2, 2 males, 2 females, and if they're playing with 3, it has to be either 2 males and 1 female or 2 females and 1 male. They can't play with 3 males or 2 and 0. They have to have 3 to start, and the math would be 2 plus 1. So 3 or 2 plus 2. Equipment, so we'll put out pylons, and we'll show you how to do this later this week with some visual stuff. But we'll put out pylons, cones, and yardage markers to measure out our field. As well, player equipment, they'll receive their jersey from us, but shirts, which they'll be wearing underneath them, have to be sleeves of some sort. They can't have like a cutoff shirt with our jersey. They'll receive a flag belt. Each flag has to, there's 3 flags on the flag belt, 1 on each hip and 1 on the back. If they have it rotated in any way, shape, or form, tell them to correct it. With their shirts, make sure their shirts are tucked in, because if I'm wearing a flag belt and my shirt is untucked, that's covering my flags, which is the one way you play flag football. So if I can't reach your flags, it kind of defeats the purpose. Any sort of knee braces, arm braces, anything like that, no metal exposed, and our supervisor should be keeping an eye out for stuff like that. But generally, it's few and far between. They can use a towel, so if it's a wet night, it's been raining all day, it's raining during the game, they can use a towel, but it has to be placed in the center and the neutral zone. It can't be kept in the shorts, because it's just like a flag. If I go to reach your flag and I grab your towel, now I'm not going to be able to grab your flag. So it has to be kept on the ground, and the quarterback should be the one moving up and down the field. If they keep forgetting to do it, tell them they can't bring it on the field. So they can keep it, they just have to make sure they keep moving up the field as we move the pucks throughout the evening. So here's a lovely example. So there's a flag on the ground. What for? Can anyone tell why that flag? Actually, it's not a penalty flag, but can anyone tell us why we would throw a flag on this play?
Because he took off his belt.
Yep, so his belt is off, and he didn't put it back. Rather than trying to get it back on, he just took it off and laid it on the ground. So it's important that we keep an eye out, because they had to, in order to start the play, they had to have their belt on and ready to go. We do have an exception for shorts. So, no pockets, belt loops, or exposed drawstrings. One thing that has changed is they can wear shorts with pockets, but they can't wear flag belts. So if they want to play with pockets, it's one-hand touch for that player. And you can be lenient with it. If it looks like if Brad's running by and he's wearing pockets and I go like that and you think I touched him, blow the whistle. So it is a rule that we instituted last year. So if they have pockets, they don't want to tuck their shirt in, they can play, but they can't wear a flag belt on this one-hand touch from the shoulders to the knees. In terms of belt loops and drawstrings, make sure we're keeping an eye out if we need to tell someone to tuck in the drawstring, because what's going to happen is they'll get a finger caught on it and you'll break your finger. I screwed up my finger attempting to grab one of Zach when he was wearing pants, and I got my finger caught just in his back pocket, and that thing hurt for weeks. So it does happen. It is painful. So I would advise keeping an eye out, helping us keep those injuries down. Any sweatshirts with a hood or exposed front pocket are not allowed. The hood can be tucked into the jersey, back into the sweater, so the hood isn't hanging down. Gives someone something to pull on. And then the exposed front pocket, if they can cover that up by either putting a shirt over it, that's fine, or they're going to have to play one-hand touch. No build hats, bandanas with knots, or jewelry. Stocking caps are okay. With build hats, they'll wear it backwards. With a bandana, the knot in the back, if we were to hit the ground or someone were to hit them, that knot would do damage. The build hat would do damage, so make sure that we keep an eye out. We let them know when they're warming up, we're scanning the field for these things, so if we notice that someone's wearing a bandana, tell them to take it off before they come on the field. Have them just deal with it during pregame. It saves you a lot of trouble later on. And then shoes with all metal cleats are prohibited. Most people don't have them, but keep an eye out if you see it as well. So coin toss. As you may have noticed in any football game, there's usually a coin toss. The visiting team, which you'll get on your schedule and on your scorecard, will call heads or tail or odds or even. You simply just got to tell them, do I have a 1 or 2 behind my back? They'll say, oh, 1, and you'll be like, nope, it's a 2. And then the other team, whoever won that coin toss, will decide offense, defense, end of field, or defer. The big thing to keep in mind here is defer is what most teams want. And if you have watched the NFL, there's the one instance where Dak Prescott where he chose defense, because defense is a choice. If they choose defense, the other team at the end of half gets the choice going on. So if you choose defense in the first half, that means the other team is offense, and now the team in the second half, the team that lost the coin toss, is going to choose offense, so they get the offense in both halves. So what I would tell most teams is, do you want the offense or do you want to defer? Because typically they want to defer their option in the second half. So going into the second half, which Sid took advantage of in the fall, they had the option, if Sid's team has won the coin toss, I now have to choose offense or defense, which I decide I want to play offense because I don't want to play defense. Sid at the second half will get the same option. And depending on, sometimes out here we have a really windy night, and it makes sense to play defense first or choose the end of the field first because you want to play with the wind as opposed to into the wind. For most teams, it's offense, defer, or end of the field. The other team gets the option after that. If they defer, they get to choose one of the first 3, the other team that did not, and the ball will start on the 10-yard line, which we'll have indicated on the field for you, which is inlaid already, and we will have any other markings indicated for you out there. So 10-yard line will be the ball where the ball starts. Any touchback or anything like that will start from the 10-yard line as well. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so the field is 60-yard lines from end line to end line, so that does not include, so that's the end line, not the goal lines. 2 10-yard end zones and 2 20-yard zones. So the field of play, not including end zones, is 40 yards. At the start of the game, following any try, touchback, or safety, the ball will be snapped from the team's 10-yard line. And the team will have 3 consecutive downs to advance to the next zone. There is no punting, there is no 4th down. So they only get to essentially 3rd down. If a team does not convert, the opposing team takes possession at the spot of the play, at the spot where the play ended. So one change from 7-on-7, if you did 7-on-7, is there is no punting. We don't have to ask the offense, do you want to kick or do you want to go for it? They don't get the option. So 3rd down is the last down that they get unless they get a 1st down, which is crossing the 20-yard line. So here's an example of the field. We will be playing on fields 1 and 2 on the back half of them, so we'll have lines painted on there where we need them. But this is what a field will look like for you as well. Timing, we play 2 14-minute halves. The clock will only stop for timeouts, and according to high school rules, during the last minute of the second half. So that's on things like first downs, incomplete passes, out of bounds, and such, and we'll go over that later on this evening and the rest of the week. You get 1 timeout per half, and it doesn't carry over. So if you don't use it in the first half, you don't get another one in the second half. Overtime, each team alternates attempts from the 3-yard line for 1 point, 10-yard line for 2 points, and then 20-yard line for 3 points. And the mercy rule is 28 points with more than 1 minute left. With this, one team chooses what they want to do, and then the other team, if they make it, has to reciprocate that. They can't say, like, one team's like, oh, I'm going to go for the 3, the other team goes for the 10. So one team chooses, and the other team has to do it, and then they essentially go back and forth until we get an answer. Right? For overtime? If once one team chooses, the other team has to do that option?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
From the same spot.
Yeah, so. So starting the clock in the last minute of the second half, or stopping the clock and starting it, and stopping the last minute of the second half. So the game clock will start on the snap after the clock is stopped for an incomplete pass, an out of bounds, a timeout, a touchdown, a touchback, a turnover, an inadvertent whistle, and illegally consuming time. So that's that's a delay of game essentially. If I allow the clock to run out to try to allow the clock to use up more time, the team isn't going to get another chance to do that after we throw that penalty. So these are when the clock will start on the snap. And then for the whistle, we got first downs, official timeouts, and penalties. So the second we say first down, goal to gain, and we blow our whistle, the clock is starting as well. And we will give you timers that we'll use out at the fields. Extending a period. So a period is only extended if during the last down there's an accepted live ball penalty that is not penalized as a dead ball and does not carry loss of downs. There's an offsetting penalties. There's an inverted whistle, or there's a touchdown. So if a team scores a touchdown, they can then go, the extra point try still happens even though the time is run out. Co-rec rules, we have open and closed plays. So every possession starts with an open play, and you can throw it to anyone on the field. So I can throw to Sid, I can throw to Kennedy, I can throw to Brad, whoever I want, I can throw it to anyone on the field. If it's a male-to-male completion or a female-to-female completion, it closes the play. So if I throw to Brad, Brad catches it, Brad runs for 5 yards, he gets his flagged, that play is now closed. If Kennedy, say, throws to Alyssa, one of our program assistant, that play is now closed. In order to open the play, you must have a legal forward pass and involve the opposite gender. So I have to throw to Kennedy, or Kennedy has to throw to Brad in order to get that play open, in order to open that play up at that point. So the opposite gender has to be involved in order to open the play up after that initial, after it's been closed. It does not open. And if we get to say third down, the next team starts with the play open. If we get a first down, it's still closed. It has to involve some way. So if we score a male-to-male touchdown, a female has to be involved in order for the extra point to count going forward. So I'm going to count you all off into fours. And you're going to work with the crews. We got some definitions for you all to work on as a group, and then Brad is going to cover them with you after we are done with that. That's not the password. So, 1,
2,
3, 4, 1,
2, 3,
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1.
all right. 1s are going to come up here. 2s will put you in the middle right there. 3s in the back, and 4s in that back. Can you hit the camera for me?
Keyboard is over here.
No, I just forgot the other one in the office.
So that's what they just did. So these are some game basics. So there'll be 2 main ball statuses that you'll have to deal with, a live ball and a dead ball. Dead ball is when it's incomplete pass, out of bounds, anytime the ball is not being carried by a person or after you blow the whistle to make it a live play. Down, between downs. So down would be like first down, second down, third down. And then the between downs is usually when people are moving the yard markers to spot, like 1st and 5 or like 2nd and 5. And there's really 2 types of plays. There's a running play where it's a direct handoff or it's a snap to the quarterback and he just takes it and goes. Or a loose ball where it's either tossed backwards or thrown forwards. And anytime from the moment it leaves the thrower's hand to when it comes into the receiver, it's considered a loose ball. Catch and interception. The main thing you have to deal with these is a simultaneous catch, and that's offense and defense both come down with it, and tie usually goes to the.
Ask them what those are. Let's see what they wrote.
Okay. So what did you guys write for a simultaneous catch? Shall I tell them? So for a simultaneous catch, tie goes to the offense. That's just what we decided to make it. No, it's not true. The possession. Is there any questions on possession? No? Okay. And then ready for the play. That would be before you blow the whistle to make a play live. You would look around, make sure players are attentive, looking around, and also making sure that your partner is ready. So, are there fumbles in our flag football games?
No.
Correct.
What happens when the ball hits the ground?
So you'll see people, they might just run with the ball out and the defense can't touch it, and that's a pretty easy way to just get extra yardage if they actually know the rules. So where is the goal line? Is that the front line or the back line?
I'm trying to get an answer on what Andy was, so you can skip that one.
Okay. So when would there be a loss of down?
Illegal forward pass.
Yeah, so usually it's on a dead ball situation when there's an illegal shift, when like there's too many people on the field, you usually blow that dead. You don't have to worry about muffs because there's no punting.